Life Stories presents an unforgettable journey of redemption, love, and the enduring power of forgiveness. Meet Jonathan Reynolds, a successful millionaire haunted by the night he abandoned his newborn son during a fierce storm. 18 years later, fate brings them back together when Jonathan faces a life-threatening illness, and only his estranged son, Cole, holds the key to his survival. Witness their emotional journey as they navigate reconciliation, transform their lives, and build a beacon of hope for their community. Subscribe to Life Stories to begin this compelling narrative today and join us in celebrating the profound lessons of empathy and compassion. Subscribe now and don't miss the start of this incredible story. Jonathan Reynolds stood alone on the desolate stretch of Highway 66. The rain cascading down in relentless sheets that blurred the world around him. The storm was a fitting backdrop for the turmoil raging within his heart. The flashes of lightning illuminated the darkened sky, casting fleeting shadows that danced ominously across the windshield of his sleek, black Mercedes. Each thunderclap seemed to echo the pounding of his own heart, a relentless reminder of the decision he was about to make. He adjusted the knot of his Italian silk tie, a gesture that had become habitual in moments of anxiety. The tie, once a symbol of his impeccable taste and status, now felt like a heavy burden pressing against his throat. His reflection in the rearview mirror stared back at him with cold, calculating brown eyes that had built empires and shattered lives. Tonight, those same eyes were filled with a storm of emotions he had long suppressed. Inside the luxurious confines of his mansion in Chicago, Jonathan's life was a carefully constructed facade of success and control. The polished marble floors, the grand chandeliers, and the expansive hallways all spoke of a man who had risen from humble beginnings to dominate the business world. Yet, beneath this veneer of prosperity lay a chasm of regret and fear. The baby's cry pierced the silence of the mansion like a haunting melody, reverberating through every ornate room. It was a sound Jonathan had tried to forget, a sound that symbolized the greatest mistake of his life. Helena, his fiancée and the daughter of a powerful senator, had always demanded perfection. She would never accept Jonathan if she knew he had a child, especially one fathered by a maid named Grace who had served their household faithfully for years. Jonathan's hands trembled slightly as he reached for the glass of whiskey on the marble countertop. He took a long, slow sip, the amber liquid burning as it slid down his throat. "You have no choice, Jonathan," he whispered to himself, his voice barely audible over the storm. "This baby will destroy everything you've built." The memory of Lillian's death haunted him every day. She had been the maid who dared to enter his world, the woman who had unknowingly become entwined in his web of deceit. The baby's room, hastily decorated and hidden in the farthest wing of the house, was the keeper of his darkest secret. He had believed that by abandoning his son, he could preserve his empire and the life he was about to share with Helena. As he climbed the marble stairs, his heavy footsteps echoed through the empty mansion, each step a reminder of the life he was about to abandon. The room where the baby slept was small and frail, a stark contrast to the opulence surrounding it. Jonathan stood by the half-open door, watching his son, so tiny and vulnerable, sleeping peacefully. For a moment, his hardened heart faltered. The baby looked up at him with innocent eyes, so similar to his own, and Jonathan felt a pang of something he had long buried, something that threatened to unravel the very fabric of his existence. "Why did you have to be born?" he thought bitterly. "Lillian should have done what I told her. Now she's dead. And you're the proof of my biggest mistake." Black clouds began to gather outside, mirroring the turmoil inside him. He wrapped his son in Lillian's blue blanket, his hands, so experienced in closing million-dollar deals, now trembling as they touched his son's delicate skin. The small silver locket, the only gift Lillian had left for the baby, shone faintly in the dim light of the room. Jonathan considered tearing it off, discarding the last tangible link to his mistake. But something within him stopped him. Lillian's last plea echoed in his mind. Promise me you'll take care of him. Her voice, filled with desperation and hope, had been his final connection to the child he had abandoned. Promise our son will have a decent life. Descending the stairs with his son in his arms, Jonathan felt the weight of his decision pressing down on him with each step. The phone rang, snapping him back to the present. He stopped halfway, heart racing, as he saw the caller ID Helena. It was a message he couldn't ignore. He let the answering machine pick up, hearing Helena's excited voice. Love, I'm so excited about the wedding preparations. Daddy managed to confirm the governor's presence at the ceremony. Isn't it wonderful? You'll be the most powerful man in the state. The mansion's garage was silent as Jonathan placed the baby on the back seat of his Mercedes. The contrast between the luxurious Italian leather and the baby's simple blanket screamed the difference between the two worlds he was trying to keep separate. He started the car, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly as he murmured to himself, "It's better this way. You'll have a chance to live without carrying the weight of my name. And I can live without carrying the mark of my weakness." Without looking at his son, he drove away, the first raindrops beginning to fall as the car left the mansion's gates. The streets became more deserted as they moved away from the city center, and Jonathan's mind was a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Lillian's voice still echoed in his thoughts. "Our love may not have been planned, Jonathan, but this baby is proof that something true was born from it." The storm intensified as Jonathan stopped the car on a deserted road on the outskirts of the city. The place was dark, surrounded by ancient trees that swayed violently in the strong wind. His hands trembled as he opened the rear door, and the baby woke up, eyes wide and staring at him with the same innocence that had pierced his hardened heart. "Why do you have to have my eyes? Why do you have to look so much like me?" Jonathan asked more to himself than to his son, feeling the cold wind cut across his face as he walked away with the baby in his arms. Each step felt like a step away from his past, his responsibilities, and the life he had meticulously built. The little one began to cry, sensing the danger. Jonathan stopped, turning to look at his son one last time. "Don't cry, Cole. Even if no one but me knows it. You're Reynolds. Don't cry." The rain was now falling with full force when Jonathan placed the baby on the ground, protected only by the blanket. The silver locket briefly shone under a lightning bolt, the same locket Lillian had given him when they first met. His hands lingered on the tiny body, feeling its warmth one last time. Lillian's voice sounded like a curse in his mind. "One day you'll regret every choice you made. Fate has mysterious ways of making us pay for our mistakes." As he made his way back to the car, the path seemed endless, each step accompanied by the baby's cry mingling with the storm's fury. He got into the vehicle, his soaked clothes staining the pristine upholstery, and glanced in the rearview mirror. The small blue bundle lay vulnerable under the rain. A simple life left to chance. A simple life is better than a life marred by shame. "One day, you'll understand," he whispered, the weight of his actions pressing down on him with unbearable intensity. Minutes inside the car felt like an eternity. Jonathan couldn't start the engine, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles turned white. The rain's roar couldn't drown out the baby's cry that still echoed in his ears. "You're doing the right thing, Cole. This baby deserves a real family, not a father who is ashamed of his existence," he spoke aloud, trying to convince himself of his decision. The rumble of the engine finally broke the interior silence, and Jonathan engaged the gear, ready to leave behind the evidence of his weakness. It was then that his eyes caught something in the rearview mirror, lights approaching at high speed. "My God. No," he thought, panic setting in as he realized he wouldn't see the baby in time. Cold sweat trickled down his forehead as the lights grew closer, illuminating the small blue bundle left on the road. Time seemed to stop in his mind as he watched helplessly. Lillian's voice grew stronger, more insistent. "The truth always finds its way, Jonathan. No matter how long it takes." The approaching car sped past him like lightning, its headlights casting accusatory beams on the helpless child. Jonathan's heart raced, his mind tormented by regret and fear. What have I done? My God! What have I done? This can't be the end. It can't end like this. As the car disappeared into the storm, Jonathan stood alone on the deserted road, the realization of his actions sinking in like a heavy fog. The baby was gone, and with him, a piece of his soul was lost forever. The storm raged on, its fury unabated as Grace Thompson navigated the treacherous streets of Chicago. Her worn shoes splashed through puddles formed by the relentless rain, each step a testament to her unwavering dedication. Grace had spent years serving the Reynolds family, her life intertwined with their opulent mansion and the daily routines that defined her existence. Yet, on this stormy night, her role transcended that of a maid. She became the savior of an innocent life. Grace had always been a woman of quiet strength and profound empathy. Her days were filled with the hum of household chores, the clink of silverware, and the soft whispers of servants coordinating their tasks. Despite the demands of her position, she found solace in small acts of kindness, whether it was a warm smile to a colleague or a comforting word to a lonely guest. But nothing had prepared her for the moment she stumbled upon the abandoned baby on Highway 66. As she approached the deserted road, the wind howled through the empty spaces, carrying with it the chilling cries of a helpless child. Grace's heart raced, her instincts kicking in as she spotted the small bundle lying vulnerably on the slick asphalt. Without hesitation, she rushed forward, her hands trembling as she scooped the baby into her arms. The rain drenched her clothes, but Grace barely noticed the discomfort. Her focus was solely on protecting the fragile life before her. "Little one, you're safe now," she whispered, her voice breaking through the storm's roar. The baby's cries softened slightly, a glimmer of trust forming in his innocent eyes. Grace glanced around, ensuring no passing car would pose another threat. The silver locket around the baby's neck caught her eye, its faint shimmer barely visible beneath the soaked blanket. She knew immediately that this was no ordinary child. It was a lifeline to a past Jonathan Reynolds desperately tried to bury. Grace carried the baby through the storm, each step deliberate despite the fatigue etched into her face. The journey to her modest home was arduous, but her determination never wavered. Arriving at her small apartment, she gently laid the baby on the kitchen table, the room offering a stark contrast to the grandeur of the Reynolds mansion. The humble space was filled with the warmth of homemade meals, the scent of fresh flowers from her tiny balcony, and the comforting presence of books and mementos that spoke of a life rich in love and resilience. As she tended to the baby's needs, Grace's mind raced with questions. Who had left him? Why abandon such a precious life in the midst of a storm? The only clue was the locket, a symbol of hope and mystery intertwined. Grace knew that despite the unknowns, her responsibility was clear. She would protect and nurture this child, giving him the love and care he so desperately needed. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Grace and Cole deepened. She named him Cole, a name that felt both strong and gentle, much like the man who had saved him. Grace balanced her duties with motherhood, finding moments of joy in Cole's first smiles and the sound of his laughter filling their home. Despite her own struggles, including a lingering illness that often left her exhausted, Grace never faltered in her commitment to Cole's well-being. Cole thrived under Grace's care, his resilience mirrored in her unwavering dedication. He grew into a curious and compassionate child, his eyes reflecting the same innocence that had once pierced Jonathan Reynolds' hardened heart. Grace taught him the values of empathy and kindness, instilling in him the belief that love could overcome even the darkest of circumstances. Their lives, once defined by hardship and isolation, now blossomed with the promise of a brighter future. Yet, the shadows of the past lingered. Grace couldn't shake the feeling that Cole was destined for something greater, something intertwined with the man she had saved him from. The silver locket remained a constant reminder of the night of abandonment, a silent witness to the choices that had shaped their lives. Grace often found herself lost in thought, pondering the complexities of fate and the unpredictable paths that life could take. One quiet evening, as Grace sat by the window watching the rain taper off, she gently held Cole in her arms, his tiny fingers curled around hers. A gesture that spoke volumes of the trust and love they shared. "You're my miracle, Cole," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "No matter what happens, we'll face it together. You have a family in me." Cole looked up at her, his eyes shining with understanding beyond his years. "I love you, Grace," he said softly, his voice a balm to her weary soul. "You're my everything." In that moment, Grace realized the profound lessons life had taught her. She had learned that true wealth wasn't measured by the opulence of a mansion or the power of an empire, but by the depth of love and the strength of the human spirit. Her journey from a dedicated maid to a devoted mother had been fraught with challenges. But each obstacle had only strengthened her resolve to protect and nurture Cole. As the years passed, Grace's health declined, but her love for Cole never waned. She imparted to him the wisdom she had gained through her own struggles, teaching him that empathy and compassion were the true markers of success. Cole grew into a young man shaped by Grace's unwavering support and the lessons of resilience and forgiveness that she had instilled in him. The story of Jonathan Reynolds and his abandoned son had taken an unexpected turn, one that Grace had never imagined but had embraced with grace and unwavering dedication. Her actions that stormy night had not only saved a life but had set in motion a series of events that would ultimately lead to reconciliation and redemption. Grace had shown that even in the face of immense adversity, love and empathy could forge connections that transcended time and circumstance. Time has a peculiar way of weaving its threads through our lives, often unnoticed until its patterns become undeniable. For Jonathan Reynolds, the passage of 18 years had not only transformed his empire but had also silently eroded his health. The bustling energy that once fueled his every move now felt like an exhausting burden, each day bringing him closer to an unseen precipice. It began subtly, the way exhaustion settles into bones after a relentless workweek. Jonathan dismissed the constant fatigue as the natural consequence of his relentless ambition. Yet, as months turned into years, the weariness deepened into something more sinister. His once vibrant energy dwindled, replaced by a persistent ache in his chest that no amount of rest could soothe. The diagnosis came as a harsh revelation, a rare genetic disorder affecting his immune system and heart. A condition that mirrored the very ailment he had feared for his abandoned son. Cole, sitting in his opulent office, surrounded by the grandeur of his accomplishments, Jonathan felt a profound sense of vulnerability. The polished mahogany desk, the panoramic windows overlooking the city's skyline, and the meticulously arranged documents, all symbols of his success, now seemed like iron bars closing in on him. He reached for his phone, contemplating calling Dr. Nathan, his trusted physician of over 2 decades, but hesitated. The truth was too painful, the reality too harsh to confront. Days turned into restless nights as Jonathan grappled with his mortality. The once unshakable businessman found himself staring at his reflection in the mirrored glass of his office door, eyes hollow and searching for answers that seemed to elude him. The silver locket around his neck, a relic from the night he abandoned Cole, now felt heavier, a constant reminder of the life he had forsaken. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across his office, Jonathan could no longer ignore the mounting pressure within his chest. He clutched the edge of his desk, gasping for breath, the pain intensifying with each passing moment. Dr. Nathan entered swiftly, his expression a mix of concern and professional detachment. "Jonathan, we need to talk," Dr. Nathan began, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "Your tests indicate that your condition has progressed aggressively. Without immediate intervention, your chances of survival diminish rapidly." Jonathan's mind raced. Thoughts of his empire, his fiancée Emily, and the ghost of Cole intertwining in a chaotic dance. "What do you mean, Nathan?" What can be done? His voice cracked, betraying the fear he had long kept buried beneath layers of composure. Dr. Nathan took a deep breath, choosing his words with care. The only viable treatment is a bone marrow transplant. And the only compatible donor is your biological son, Cole. Without it, we're looking at a maximum of 3 months. The room seemed to spin as Jonathan processed the information. The irony was unbearable. His salvation lay in the hands of the very son he had abandoned. Memories of that stormy night flooded his mind, each one a dagger to his already fractured soul. How is that possible? Cole is alive. Dr. Nathan's eyes softened, a flicker of empathy breaking through his professional facade. We've traced the records based on the locket. It led us to a Grace Thompson, who has been caring for a young man named Cole for the past 18 years. It appears he survived and has been living under her guardianship. Jonathan felt a surge of conflicting emotions: guilt, desperation, and a flicker of hope. Find him. Nathan. Find my son. I need to see him. The search for Cole was a race against time, a journey that would force Jonathan to confront the shadows of his past. Private investigators were hired, their methods meticulous as they scoured hospitals, orphanages, and public records, piecing together the fragments of a life he had forsaken. Each lead, each clue brought him closer to the truth. Yet the anticipation gnawed at him, the fear of what he might find consuming his every thought. Meanwhile, Cole lived a life of humble simplicity, unaware of the man who had abandoned him. Grace Thompson had raised him with unwavering love, teaching him the values of empathy and resilience. The silver locket remained a treasured keepsake, a silent connection to a past he knew nothing about. Cole's days were filled with hard work and quiet moments of reflection, his heart unknowingly yearning for a family he never knew he had. One chilly autumn morning, as Jonathan walked through the bustling streets of Chicago, his mind a whirlwind of anxiety and anticipation, he couldn't shake the feeling that destiny was leading him towards an inevitable confrontation. The city, with its towering skyscrapers and vibrant energy, felt both familiar and alien, a reflection of his own internal conflict. The private investigators finally delivered the news: Cole Thompson was alive, living modestly under Grace's care. Jonathan felt a flicker of hope, tempered by the weight of his actions. He needed to see his son, to make amends for the life he had taken away, even if it meant facing the man he had become. The day Jonathan decided to reach out to Grace was marked by a solemn determination. He visited her small apartment, the doorbell ringing loudly against the quiet evening. Grace opened the door, her tired eyes meeting his with a mixture of surprise and guarded curiosity. "Mr. Reynolds," she greeted him cautiously, stepping aside to allow him entry. "How can I help you?" Jonathan took a deep breath, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. "Grace, I need to speak with Cole. It's important." Grace studied him for a moment, sensing the sincerity and desperation in his demeanor. "Please, come in. Let's talk inside." As they sat in the modest living room, the tension between them palpable, Jonathan struggled to find the right words. "Grace, I know I have no right to ask this, but I need to see my son. It's a matter of life and death." Grace's eyes softened, a hint of understanding flickering within them. "I know you abandoned him that night, Jonathan. It was a difficult time for all of us. But Cole is a good man, raised with love and kindness. What can I do to help?" Jonathan reached into his pocket, pulling out the silver locket, the same one he had left behind on Highway 66. This belonged to his mother, Lillian. "It was a promise I made, though I failed to keep it. Please, Grace, I need to see him." Grace took the locket gently, her fingers brushing against his. "I understand, Jonathan. Let's find a way to make this right." The path ahead was fraught with emotional challenges, but Jonathan felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey to redemption had begun, not with grand gestures or public apologies, but with a single step towards forgiveness and healing. As he left Grace's home, the storm within him began to calm, replaced by a fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, he could salvage the remnants of a life he had so recklessly shattered. The days that followed Jonathan Reynolds' desperate plea were a whirlwind of anticipation and anxiety. The private investigators he had hired worked tirelessly, their efforts fueled by the promise of redemption and the ticking clock of his deteriorating health. Chicago, a city of endless possibilities and hidden corners, held the key to his salvation or his ultimate downfall. Grace Thompson had been cooperative from the start, understanding the gravity of Jonathan's situation. Her eyes, once weary from years of labor, now sparkled with a mixture of concern and determination. She had become more than just Cole's guardian, she was his mentor, his confidant, and the embodiment of the compassion that Jonathan had long abandoned. One crisp morning, as the first light of dawn painted the city in hues of gold and amber, the investigators delivered the news Jonathan had been yearning for. Cole Thompson was alive. He had been living modestly, working multiple jobs to support himself and Grace, who was now battling a chronic illness that made each day a struggle. The revelation struck Jonathan like a lightning bolt, igniting a maelstrom of emotions he had carefully suppressed for nearly 2 decades. The coordinates led him to a quaint neighborhood on the outskirts of Chicago, far removed from the opulent streets he frequented. As he approached Grace's modest home, the reality of his actions pressed heavily upon him. The mansion, once a symbol of his success, now seemed like a distant memory overshadowed by the humility and warmth emanating from Grace's residence. Jonathan took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest. The weight of his decision bore down on him, each step towards the house feeling like a step back in time, back to the night when everything had changed. The storm had passed, leaving behind a trail of destruction and a life he had irrevocably altered. Now, he stood on the precipice of confrontation, the moment of truth that would either heal or shatter what little remained of his soul. Grace opened the door before he could knock, her eyes wide with surprise and a flicker of recognition. "Mr. Reynolds," she greeted him cautiously, stepping aside to allow him entry. Her demeanor was a blend of professionalism and personal concern, a testament to the years they had shared. "Grace," Jonathan began, his voice wavering with a mixture of remorse and hope. "Thank you for meeting with me." Grace nodded, gesturing for him to enter. The interior of her home was simple yet inviting, filled with the warmth of personal touches and the subtle scent of lavender. Cole stood nearby, his presence a quiet testament to the life he had built under Grace's unwavering care. His eyes, a mirror of Jonathan's own, held a depth of understanding that spoke volumes of the man he had become. Jonathan felt a lump form in his throat as he took in the sight of his son. Cole was no longer the helpless baby he had abandoned. He was a young man of remarkable resilience and kindness, qualities that had blossomed despite the hardships he had faced. The irony was not lost on Jonathan, his survival now hinged on the very son he had forsaken. "Grace, I need to see him," Jonathan pleaded, his voice thick with emotion. "I know I have no right, but I need to make things right." Grace studied him for a moment, her eyes searching his for sincerity. "Jonathan, I understand why you're here, but Cole has built a life here with me, his strong, and his learned forgiveness." Jonathan swallowed hard, the memories of that stormy night flooding his mind. "I've been trying to forget, Grace, but now, my health is failing, and the only way to save me is through him. I don't know if he can forgive me, but I need to try." Grace sighed softly, a mixture of empathy and caution in her gaze. "Come inside. Let's talk." They settled into the living room, the conversation heavy with unspoken words and lingering tension. Jonathan reached into his pocket, pulling out the silver locket, a symbol of the night he had abandoned Cole and the promise he had failed to keep. "This belonged to his mother, Lillian. It was a promise I made, though I failed to keep it. Please, Grace, I need to see him." Grace took the locket gently, her fingers brushing against his. I know, Jonathan. And I know this must be incredibly difficult for you. Let's find a way to make this right. As the realization of the impending reunion settled between them, Jonathan felt a strange mix of dread and hope. The investigators had done their part, and now the moment of reckoning was upon him. The storm that had once represented his desperation now symbolized the tumultuous emotions he was about to confront. Grace stood up, moving to the kitchen to prepare tea for them both. The simplicity of the gesture was a stark contrast to the complexity of their situation. Jonathan watched her, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for her unwavering support and the sacrifices she had made to raise Cole with love and kindness. Minutes later, Grace returned with steaming cups of tea, placing one in front of Jonathan. He's been wondering about you, she confessed, her voice soft. He never knew you, but he senses something missing. Maybe this is the chance he's been waiting for. Jonathan took a sip of the tea, the warmth soothing his frazzled nerves. I hope so, he whispered, his eyes meeting Cole's across the room. The young man offered a polite smile, unaware of the full extent of the connection that bound them together. Grace began to explain the next steps. The delicate process of introducing Jonathan to Cole in a way that respected the young man's autonomy and the life he had built. Jonathan listened intently, every word a reminder of the years lost and the possibility of redemption. As the day turned to evening, the anticipation grew palpable. Jonathan couldn't shake the feeling that fate had orchestrated this moment, bringing them together in a dance of destiny and choice. The irony was not lost on him. He had sought to erase Cole from his life, only to realize that their paths were inextricably linked by blood and circumstance. Finally, the moment arrived. Grace led Jonathan to Cole's room, where the young man sat quietly, reading a book. The room was modest, yet it reflected a sense of peace and stability that Jonathan had never known. He took a deep breath, stepping forward with a humility that had been foreign to him for so long. Cole, he began, his voice barely above a whisper. I'm your father. Cole looked up, surprise etched across his face. For a moment, there was silence, the weight of the revelation hanging heavy in the air. Jonathan felt a pang of fear of rejection, of anger, of the man he had failed to be. But as he stood there, waiting for a response, he saw something unexpected in Cole's eyes, understanding. Why now? Cole asked, his voice calm but edged with curiosity. Why after all these years? Jonathan struggled to find the right words, his mind racing through the labyrinth of his emotions. I was wrong, Cole. I abandoned you for reasons I can't justify. My health has failed me, and the only way to save myself is through you. I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to know the truth. Cole took a moment to absorb the information, his eyes searching Jonathan's for sincerity. I don't know what to say, he admitted softly, but I can see that you're genuinely remorseful. Grace watched the interaction with a mixture of relief and hope, the bonds of empathy and love bridging the gap between father and son. Jonathan felt a flicker of something he had long forgotten, hope. Perhaps, after all these years, there was a chance for redemption, a chance to heal the wounds he had inflicted upon both himself and Cole. As the night settled over Chicago, Jonathan and Cole began the arduous journey of reconciliation. It was a path fraught with emotional challenges, but it was also illuminated by the possibility of forgiveness and the profound lessons of love and empathy that Grace had instilled in them both. The irony of fate had brought them together, turning a night of abandonment into a beacon of hope and the beginning of a new chapter in their intertwined lives. Jonathan Reynolds stood at the entrance of his once grand mansion, now humming with the quiet anticipation of transformation. The opulent residence, a symbol of his relentless ambition and success, was about to undergo a profound metamorphosis. With Cole Thompson by his side, the weight of his past began to lift, replaced by a burgeoning sense of hope and purpose. The journey from the cold corridors of power to the humble support center was not without its challenges. Jonathan had spent years building an empire that thrived on exclusivity and control, often at the expense of genuine human connections. Now, guided by Cole's compassionate vision, he was learning to dismantle the very walls he had erected to protect his legacy. Cole's presence was a beacon of change, his experiences living on the streets, coupled with Grace's unwavering support, had instilled in him a profound empathy and resilience. Watching his father adapt to this new mission was nothing short of miraculous. Jonathan's initial reluctance and guarded demeanor slowly softened, revealing a man yearning for redemption and connection. Their first major task was converting the mansion's expansive west wing into a welcoming shelter for the homeless. Jonathan found himself immersed in planning meetings, collaborating with Cole to design spaces that offered not just shelter but also dignity and hope. The luxurious bedrooms were transformed into comfortable sleeping areas, while the grand dining hall became a communal kitchen where warmth and nourishment could be shared. One afternoon, as they worked side by side, Cole shared stories from his time on the streets. "You know, Dad, it's not just about having a roof over your head. It's about feeling safe, having someone care, and knowing you belong somewhere," he explained, his eyes reflecting the depth of his understanding. Jonathan listened intently, the lessons of empathy and love resonating deeply within him. "I never realized how much my actions affected others," he admitted, his voice tinged with remorse. "I built my empire to protect myself, but in doing so, I isolated myself from what truly matters." Cole placed a reassuring hand on his father's shoulder. "It's never too late to change, Dad. What you're doing now can make a real difference in people's lives, just like Grace did for me." Their collaboration extended beyond logistics. Together, they reached out to local organizations, securing donations and volunteers to support their initiative. Jonathan began to understand the value of community and the strength found in collective effort. The mansion, once a fortress of solitude, was now a hub of compassion and support. Despite the progress, not everyone welcomed the transformation. Jonathan's old acquaintances, accustomed to his detached demeanor and unyielding business strategies, questioned his sudden shift in priorities. Rumors circulated, suggesting that Cole's influence was more about personal gain than genuine concern. Jonathan faced skepticism and resistance, but Cole's unwavering integrity and the visible impact of their work silenced many of the doubts. One evening, as the sun set over the Chicago skyline, Jonathan and Cole stood in the newly renovated dining hall, now filled with the laughter and chatter of those they were helping. The sight was a stark contrast to the empty, echoing rooms of the past. Jonathan felt a profound sense of fulfillment, a feeling he had never experienced despite his vast wealth. "Look at them, Dad," Cole said softly, gesturing towards the room. "They're happy, grateful. This is what true success feels like." Jonathan nodded, tears welling in his eyes. "I can't thank you enough, Cole. You've given me a chance to make amends, to find meaning beyond the bottom line." As the weeks turned into months, the mansion's transformation continued to inspire change within Jonathan himself. He began to prioritize relationships over profits, listening more and controlling less. The once stern businessman found joy in simple moments, sharing meals, listening to stories, and offering support without expecting anything in return. One chilly autumn night, as they walked through the mansion's expansive gardens, Jonathan turned to Cole. "You know, I spent so many years chasing success, thinking it would bring me happiness. But now, I realize that true happiness comes from helping others and building meaningful connections." Cole smiled, his heart swelling with pride and love for the man who had become more than just a father. "Hannah always said that love is the only thing that multiplies when you divide. You're living her truth now, Dad." The transformation was not just physical but deeply emotional. Jonathan and Cole developed a bond that transcended their past, grounded in mutual respect and shared purpose. They spent evenings discussing plans for new projects, each idea a testament to their growing partnership. The mansion's once cold and imposing presence was now a sanctuary of warmth and generosity, reflecting the profound lessons they had learned together. Grace Thompson continued to play a vital role, her unwavering support and wisdom guiding them through the complexities of their mission. Despite her declining health, her spirit remained unbroken, embodying the very essence of the compassion that had brought them together. Her presence was a constant reminder of the sacrifices made and the lives touched by their efforts. One day, as Jonathan reviewed the latest progress reports, Cole approached him with a concerned expression. "Dad, Grace isn't doing so well. She's been struggling more with her illness lately." Jonathan felt a pang of worry, the thought of losing Grace weighing heavily on him. "We need to ensure she's getting the best care possible. She's done so much for us." For Cole, "We owe her that much." They arranged for additional medical support, ensuring that Grace received the attention she needed. Jonathan's heart ached with gratitude and sorrow, recognizing that Grace had given her all to raise Cole and support their mission. Her resilience and unwavering love were the pillars upon which their newfound life stood. As the seasons changed, the mansion's support center flourished, becoming a beacon of hope in the community. Jonathan's old business habits gave way to a more compassionate approach, his empire now a force for good rather than just profit. The transformation was complete, not just of the mansion, but of the man who had once lost his way. In the quiet moments, as they watched the sunset from the mansion's balcony, Jonathan reflected on the journey that had brought them here. "I never imagined that abandoning you would lead me to this," he said softly, his voice filled with emotion. "But I'm grateful every day for the chance to make things right." Cole squeezed his father's hand, a gesture of unwavering support and love. "We're building something beautiful together, Dad. Something that will last long after we're gone." The mansion, once a symbol of isolation, now stood as a testament to the power of forgiveness, love, and the enduring human spirit. Jonathan Reynolds had found redemption through the very son he had abandoned, proving that no matter how lost one might feel, there is always a path to healing and transformation. The morning sun cast a golden hue over Chicago, its rays filtering through the large windows of the newly transformed support center. The mansion, once a symbol of Jonathan Reynolds' unyielding ambition and solitary power, now pulsed with life and purpose. The West Wing, meticulously converted into a sanctuary for the homeless, buzzed with activity. Volunteers moved gracefully between rooms, assisting those in need with meals, counseling, and the warmth of genuine human connection. Jonathan stood at the entrance, watching as Cole interacted effortlessly with the residents. The sight filled him with a sense of pride and humility he had never known. The transformation of his life mirrored the transformation of the mansion, a journey from isolation to community, from regret to redemption. Every detail of the center reflected the lessons they had learned together: compassion, empathy, and the profound impact of second chances. Cole approached his father, a gentle smile playing on his lips. "Good morning, Dad. Everything looks perfect today." Jonathan returned the smile, feeling the weight of years lift slightly from his shoulders. "It's all thanks to you, Cole. Your vision turned this place into something truly remarkable." As they walked through the center, Jonathan marveled at how seamlessly their lives had intertwined. The stark contrast between his former life of opulence and their current mission highlighted the depth of his transformation. He had once believed that wealth and power were the ultimate goals, but now he understood that true fulfillment came from making a difference in the lives of others. In one of the common areas, Grace Thompson sat comfortably, her health still fragile but her spirit undiminished. She watched with a serene smile as Jonathan and Cole engaged with the residents, her heart swelling with pride. "You've both done so well," she said softly, her voice carrying the wisdom of her years. "This center is more than just a shelter, it's a beacon of hope." Jonathan nodded, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. "Grace, none of this would have been possible without your unwavering support and love." You gave me a chance to see what truly matters. Grace reached out, placing a reassuring hand on his arm. You found your way back, Jonathan. And now, together, you're building something beautiful. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a young woman named Maya, one of the center's newest volunteers. She approached with a shy smile, holding a tray of freshly baked cookies. I thought these might help brighten someone's day, she said, offering the tray to Jonathan. He accepted it with a grateful nod. Thank you, Maya. That's very kind of you. As the day unfolded, Jonathan and Cole worked side by side, their bond strengthening with each shared moment. They listened to stories of hardship and resilience, offering words of encouragement and support. The center became a place where past wounds could begin to heal, where individuals could find solace and a path to rebuilding their lives. In the quiet moments between tasks, Jonathan found himself reflecting on the incredible journey that had brought them here. The stormy night of his son's abandonment, the years of guilt and isolation, and the miraculous reunion that had transformed his life. Each memory was a testament to the power of forgiveness and the enduring strength of the human spirit. One evening, as the sun set and the center settled into a peaceful twilight, Jonathan and Cole sat together on a bench in the garden. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the gentle rustling of leaves. The silver locket around Cole's neck caught the last rays of sunlight, glinting softly as a reminder of their shared history. Dad, Cole began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. I never knew you, but I understand why you did what you did. We can't change the past, but we can shape the future together. Jonathan reached out, taking his son's hand in his own. You've taught me so much, Cole, about love, about forgiveness, and about what truly matters. I can never repay you for what you've done, but I can dedicate the rest of my life to making things right. Tears welled up in Jonathan's eyes as he squeezed Cole's hand gently. Grace was my redemption, and you are mine. Together, we can create something that honors both our pasts and builds a brighter future. As they sat in comfortable silence, the garden around them seemed to mirror their newfound harmony. The once cold and imposing mansion had become a sanctuary of warmth and generosity, a place where hearts could mend and lives could be renewed. The lessons they had learned about empathy and compassion had not only transformed the lives of those they were helping but had also healed the deepest wounds within themselves. The support center flourished, becoming a cornerstone of the community. Stories of transformation and hope spread, inspiring others to contribute and get involved. Jonathan's reputation, once marred by his past mistakes, was now one of generosity and genuine care. The legacy he was building was one of love and redemption, a stark contrast to the legacy he had feared he would leave behind. One chilly winter morning, as snowflakes gently fell from the sky, Jonathan and Cole stood outside the center, observing a group of volunteers preparing for a winter clothing drive. The sight filled them with a sense of accomplishment and purpose. Look at them, Dad, Cole said, his eyes shining with pride. They're happy, grateful. This is what true success feels like. Jonathan nodded, feeling a profound sense of fulfillment. I can't thank you enough, Cole. You've given me a chance to make amends, to find meaning beyond the bottom line. As the months turned into years, the bond between father and son deepened, their shared mission becoming the foundation of their relationship. They celebrated milestones together, each achievement a testament to their resilience and dedication. The mansion, once a symbol of isolation, was now a beacon of hope and community, reflecting the love and forgiveness that had brought them together. One crisp autumn evening, as they walked through the now thriving gardens of the support center, Jonathan turned to Cole with a heartfelt smile. I never imagined that abandoning you would lead me to this. But I'm grateful every day for the chance to make things right. Cole squeezed his father's shoulder, a gesture of unwavering support and love. We're building something beautiful together, Dad. Something that will last long after we're gone. The mansion's transformation was not just physical but deeply emotional. Jonathan had shed the layers of pride and isolation that had defined his former life, embracing a new identity rooted in compassion and community. Cole, in turn, had found a father who was willing to confront his past and seek forgiveness, solidifying their bond in ways neither of them had thought possible. In the quiet moments, as they watched the sunset over the Chicago skyline, Jonathan felt a profound sense of peace. The journey they had undertaken together had been fraught with challenges, but it had also been filled with love, empathy, and the unwavering belief that redemption was always within reach. The silver locket, once a symbol of abandonment, now represented their shared journey of forgiveness and the enduring connection between father and son. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the center, Jonathan and Cole stood side by side, their hearts aligned in a harmonious rhythm. They had transcended the pain of the past, forging a future built on the foundations of love, empathy, and the profound lessons learned from their intertwined lives. The years that followed the transformation of Jonathan Reynolds' mansion into a support center for the homeless were a testament to the enduring power of love, forgiveness, and the human spirit. The center, aptly named Hope Haven, became a cornerstone of the Chicago community, embodying the very essence of compassion and resilience that had brought father and son together. Jonathan stood on the balcony overlooking the bustling courtyard, the vibrant energy of Hope Haven reflecting in his eyes. The once solitary figure, who had built an empire on ambition and control, now found himself surrounded by the warmth of community and the genuine connections forged through shared struggles and triumphs. The air was filled with laughter, the aroma of freshly baked bread from the communal kitchen, and the soft hum of conversations that spoke of hope and new beginnings. Cole approached his father, a gentle smile gracing his lips. "It's incredible, Dad. Look at what we've built together." His voice carried the same unwavering compassion that had defined his journey, a reflection of the lessons Grace had instilled in him over the years. Jonathan nodded, feeling a profound sense of fulfillment. "I never imagined that abandoning you would lead to something so beautiful. Hope Haven isn't just a center, it's a sanctuary where lives can be transformed, just like ours." As they walked through the center, they encountered individuals whose lives had been touched by their efforts. There was Marcus, a former construction worker who had lost everything in a tragic accident, now finding solace and purpose through vocational training programs. Emma, a single mother struggling to make ends meet, had found support and stability, allowing her to rebuild her life for the sake of her children. Each story was a testament to the impact of their mission, a living proof that redemption and transformation were possible. Grace Thompson, now frail but ever present, watched with pride as her two greatest blessings interacted with those they were helping. Her eyes sparkled with unshed tears as she approached them, her voice filled with gratitude. "You've both done more than just save lives. You've given people hope, a chance to start over. That's the true essence of what we're doing here." Jonathan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We couldn't have done this without you, Grace. Your unwavering support and love were the foundation upon which Hope Haven was built." Grace smiled, her spirit undiminished by her illness. "I'm just glad I could play a part in something so meaningful. Seeing all of you here, working together, it's everything I hoped for." One crisp autumn evening, as golden leaves danced in the gentle breeze, Jonathan and Cole sat together in the center's garden. The transformation of the once cold and imposing estate into a vibrant community space was now complete, each corner reflecting the harmony between wealth and compassion. Cole looked at his father, his eyes filled with a maturity that belied his years. "Dad, I've been thinking, what if we expand our efforts beyond Chicago? There are so many places in need of support, of hope. We could replicate this model, help even more people." Jonathan felt a surge of pride and determination. "I've spent my life building something that could change lives, but it's time to take it further. Let's make Hope Haven a national initiative. Let's ensure that no one has to feel as lost and abandoned as Cole did that stormy night. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Maya, the young volunteer who had become an integral part of the center. She approached with a folder in hand, her eyes bright with excitement. We've been receiving requests from other cities, Dad. People want to replicate Hope Haven in their communities. They're inspired by what you and Cole have built here. Jonathan and Cole exchanged a look of shared purpose. That's wonderful news. Maya, thank you for bringing this to us. As they reviewed the plans, the realization of their expanding impact settled in. Each new center would require dedication, resources, and the same unwavering compassion that had defined their journey. It was a daunting task, but one that Jonathan no longer feared. The lessons of empathy, love, and forgiveness had transformed him, equipping him with the strength to embrace this new mission. One winter morning, as snowflakes gently blanketed the city, Jonathan received a letter that would further cement the legacy of Hope Haven. It was from a woman named Elena, whose life had been transformed by the center. Her words were filled with gratitude and hope, detailing how Hope Haven had given her the strength to overcome addiction and rebuild her life. The letter concluded with a heartfelt plea to continue expanding their efforts, to reach those who still needed a lifeline. Jonathan shared the letter with Cole, their eyes meeting in a moment of shared determination. This is why we do what we do, Dad. To give people a chance, a way out of their darkest moments. Cole nodded, his heart swelling with pride. We have to keep pushing forward. For people like Elena and for Grace. She believed in us. And now it's our turn to believe in the power of love and community. As the years passed, Hope Haven became a beacon of hope across the nation. Each new center brought with it stories of transformation, healing, and the unyielding human spirit. Jonathan and Cole traveled to each location, ensuring that the core values of compassion and empathy were upheld. Their bond grew stronger, each step forward a testament to the power of forgiveness and the enduring strength of family. One summer evening, as they stood on the balcony of the latest Hope Haven Center in New York City, Jonathan reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The mansion that had once represented his isolation now stood as a symbol of unity and compassion. The silver locket around Cole's neck shone brightly, a silent reminder of their shared past and the path they had forged together. Look at what we've accomplished, Cole, Jonathan said softly, his voice filled with emotion. We turned our pain into something beautiful, something that gives back to the world. Cole smiled, his eyes reflecting the same determination and kindness that had defined his upbringing. And it all started with Grace and the lessons she taught me about love and forgiveness. We owe so much to her. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the city, Jonathan and Cole embraced the legacy they had built together. The journey from abandonment to reconciliation, from isolation to community, had been long and fraught with challenges. But through it all, they had discovered the true meaning of wealth and success, not in the opulence of their surroundings, but in the lives they touched and the love they shared. The story of Jonathan Reynolds and Cole Thompson was not just one of redemption, it was a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, the capacity for forgiveness, and the profound impact of empathy and love. Their legacy continued to inspire countless others, proving that no matter how lost one might feel, there is always a path to healing and transformation. As they stood together, watching the vibrant life of Hope Haven thrive beneath the twilight sky, Jonathan felt a deep sense of peace. The man who had once feared the consequences of his actions had found solace and purpose in the most unexpected of places, through the unwavering love of his son and the enduring spirit of a woman who had taught him that true strength lies not in power, but in compassion. The seasons changed gracefully in Chicago, each bringing its own rhythm to the bustling cityscape. Hope Haven thrived, its influence spreading like ripples across a still pond, touching lives in ways Jonathan Reynolds had never imagined possible. The mansion, once a fortress of solitude and ambition, now stood as a beacon of compassion and community, its halls echoing with laughter and stories of resilience. Jonathan stood in the heart of Hope Haven's central courtyard, watching as volunteers set up for the day's activities. The vibrant energy surrounding him was a stark contrast to the cold, calculated environment he had once known. He felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that every decision he had made alongside Cole had led to this moment of collective purpose. Cole approached him, a warm smile lighting up his face. "Dad, everything looks perfect today. The new vocational program is ready to launch, and we've already received interest from several local businesses willing to partner with us." Jonathan returned the smile, his heart swelling with pride. "That's fantastic. Cole, your vision is truly making a difference. It's inspiring to see how much you've grown and how dedicated you are to helping others." As they walked through the courtyard, they encountered Elena Martinez, a woman whose life had been transformed by Hope Haven. Elena had struggled with addiction and homelessness for years before finding solace and support through their programs. Now, she stood confidently, leading a workshop on job readiness for newcomers. "Mr. Reynolds, Cole." Elena greeted them warmly, her eyes shining with gratitude. "I can't thank you enough for everything you've done. Hope Haven gave me a second chance, and I'm now working towards rebuilding my life." Jonathan felt a lump form in his throat, emotions welling up as he listened to her heartfelt words. "Elena, your progress is remarkable. We're so proud of you and all that you've achieved." Elena smiled, her presence a testament to the power of empathy and support. "It's all thanks to the foundation you and Cole have built here. You've shown me that no matter how lost you feel, there's always a way to find your path again." As the day unfolded, Jonathan and Cole continued their tour, witnessing firsthand the myriad ways Hope Haven touched lives. From the children's education programs to the mental health counseling sessions, every initiative reflected their shared commitment to fostering a community of care and compassion. In one of the quieter corners of the mansion, Grace Thompson sat comfortably, her health stable but her spirit ever vibrant. She watched as her two greatest blessings interacted with the residents, her heart filled with pride and contentment. "You've both done so well," she remarked softly, her eyes meeting theirs with a deep sense of fulfillment. "This center is everything I hoped it would be." Jonathan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Grace, your unwavering support and love were the foundation of Hope Haven. We couldn't have done this without you." Grace smiled, her eyes twinkling with gratitude. "I'm just glad I could help. Seeing all of you here, working together, it's more than I ever dreamed of." As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the mansion's gardens, Jonathan and Cole found a moment of solitude. They sat together on a bench, the vibrant life of Hope Haven bustling around them, yet they were enveloped in a serene silence that spoke volumes of their shared journey. "Cole," Jonathan began, his voice filled with emotion. "When I abandoned you, I thought I was protecting my legacy, but in reality, I was destroying the very thing that gave my life meaning. You've taught me that true success isn't measured by wealth or power, but by the lives we touch and the love we share." Cole looked at his father, his eyes reflecting the same compassion and strength that Grace had instilled in him. "Dad, I never held any resentment. Instead, I chose to focus on the love and care Grace provided me. You gave me a different kind of legacy, a legacy of empathy and resilience." Jonathan felt tears welling up, a mix of gratitude and sorrow washing over him. "I can never fully repay you for everything you've done, Cole, but I promise to continue building Hope Haven, to honor the sacrifice Grace made and the lessons you've taught me." As they sat in comfortable silence, the garden around them seemed to mirror their newfound harmony. The once cold and imposing mansion had been transformed into a sanctuary of warmth and generosity, reflecting the profound lessons they had learned together. The next morning, a new chapter began for Hope Haven. Jonathan and Cole announced plans to expand their efforts. reaching out to neighboring cities and even launching a national initiative. Their mission was clear: to ensure that no one in Chicago, or beyond, would ever feel as lost and abandoned as Cole had on that stormy night. Volunteers flocked to their cause, inspired by the genuine compassion and unwavering dedication displayed by the Reynolds family. Jonathan found himself attending community meetings and outreach programs, listening more and speaking less. The lessons of empathy and love that Grace had imparted now guided his every action, shaping him into a leader who valued human connection over corporate success. One chilly winter evening, as they gathered for a planning session, Cole shared a story that encapsulated the essence of their mission. "Today, I met a young man named Alex. He's been struggling with homelessness and is trying to get back on his feet. We've enrolled him in our job training program, and I can see the hope in his eyes. It's moments like these that remind me why we do what we do." Jonathan listened intently, his heart swelling with pride. "Your dedication is inspiring, Cole. You've transformed not only your life but the lives of so many others." As the weeks turned into months, Hope Haven continued to grow, its impact extending far beyond the mansion's walls. Jonathan and Cole worked tirelessly, their bond strengthening with each shared success and challenge overcome. They celebrated milestones together, each one a testament to their resilience and commitment to making a difference. One spring morning, as flowers bloomed and the air was filled with the promise of new beginnings, Jonathan received a letter that would further solidify the legacy of Hope Haven. It was from a woman named Maria, whose life had been transformed by their support. Her words were filled with gratitude and hope, detailing how Hope Haven had given her the strength to overcome personal struggles and rebuild her life for the sake of her children. Jonathan shared the letter with Cole, their eyes meeting in a moment of shared determination. "This is why we do what we do, Dad. To give people a chance, a way out of their darkest moments." Cole nodded, his heart swelling with pride. "We have to keep pushing forward. For people like Maria and for Grace. She believed in us. And now it's our turn to believe in the power of love and community." As the seasons continued to change, Hope Haven remained a pillar of support and compassion in the community. Jonathan's transformation from a solitary businessman to a compassionate leader was complete, his life now intertwined with the lives of those he helped. The mansion, once a symbol of isolation, now stood as a testament to the enduring power of forgiveness, love, and the human spirit. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, Jonathan reflected on the incredible journey they had undertaken. "I never imagined that abandoning you would lead me to this," he mused, his voice filled with emotion. "But I'm grateful every day for the chance to make things right." Cole smiled, his eyes reflecting the same determination and kindness that had defined his upbringing. "And we're just getting started, Dad. There's so much more we can do, so many more lives we can touch." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the city, Jonathan and Cole embraced the legacy they had built together. Their story was one of redemption and transformation, proving that no matter how lost one might feel, there is always a path to healing and making a meaningful difference in the lives of others. The silver locket around Cole's neck shone brightly, a silent reminder of their shared past and the journey that had brought them to this moment of profound connection and unwavering purpose. Together, they had rewritten their story, transforming pain into purpose and building a legacy of love and compassion that would endure for generations to come. The dawn broke over Chicago with a promise of new beginnings. The city, vibrant and ever-evolving, mirrored the transformation that had taken place within the walls of Hope Haven. Jonathan Reynolds stood on the balcony of the newly established Hope Haven East, a center he and Cole had inaugurated in a neighboring district. The early morning light cast a warm glow on the bustling activities below, a stark contrast to the cold, solitary mornings of his past. Jonathan took a deep breath, savoring the crisp air that filled his lungs, a luxury he had long forgotten amidst the demands of his former life. Beside him, Cole adjusted his tie, his eyes reflecting the same determination and compassion that had driven their mission forward. The bond between father and son had grown unbreakable, forged through shared struggles and the unwavering belief in the power of empathy and love. "Another center, Dad," Cole remarked, his voice filled with quiet pride. "Hope Haven East is already making a difference. We've had 3 success stories this morning alone." Jonathan nodded, his heart swelling with pride. "It's incredible to see how far we've come, Cole. Each center is a testament to what we can achieve when we put love and compassion first." As they descended the grand staircase of Hope Haven East, the familiar sights and sounds of the bustling center greeted them. Volunteers moved with purpose, assisting residents with meals, counseling sessions, and various programs designed to foster independence and self-sufficiency. The transformation of the mansion's West Wing had been just the beginning. Now, Hope Haven was expanding its reach, touching lives across the city and beyond. In the communal kitchen, Elena Martinez, now a senior coordinator, was leading a team of volunteers in preparing breakfast for the residents. Her journey from a struggling single mother to a beacon of hope had inspired many, and her presence was a constant reminder of the impact Hope Haven had on individuals' lives. "Good morning, Elena." Jonathan greeted her warmly, approaching with Cole by his side. Elena looked up, her eyes bright with gratitude. "Good morning, Mr. Reynolds." "Cole, we're just getting started. Today, we have a new batch of meals to prepare for the evening shelter. Everyone's been so motivated." Cole smiled, his hands deftly working alongside the volunteers. "It's amazing to see how much hope and determination these people have. It's inspiring." As they moved through the center, Jonathan couldn't help but feel a deep sense of fulfillment. The once cold and imposing mansion had been reborn as a sanctuary of warmth and generosity, a place where lives could be transformed through love and support. The lessons he had learned from Grace and the unwavering dedication of his son had reshaped his understanding of true success. Their journey wasn't without its challenges. However, expanding Hope Haven meant navigating logistical hurdles, securing funding, and managing the complexities of running multiple centers. Yet, each obstacle was met with resilience and a shared commitment to their mission. Jonathan found himself embracing roles he had never imagined, from strategic planning to hands-on support, guided by Cole's compassionate leadership. One afternoon, as they sat in the planning room, Cole outlined the next phase of their expansion. "We need to focus on mental health services. Many of the residents struggle with trauma and anxiety. Providing counseling and therapy can make a significant difference in their recovery." Jonathan listened intently, his mind racing with ideas and possibilities. "Agreed. We should also consider partnering with local universities to offer internships for students studying social work and psychology. It could provide them with valuable experience while enhancing our support services." Their collaboration was seamless, each idea building upon the other's strengths. The synergy between father and son was palpable, a harmonious blend of experience and empathy that fueled their shared vision. As the months passed, Hope Haven's network of centers grew, each one a unique reflection of the community it served, yet unified by the core values of compassion and support. One evening, as winter's chill settled over the city, Jonathan and Cole hosted a gathering at Hope Haven West to celebrate the success of their latest initiative, a job training program that had already helped dozens of residents secure employment. The room was filled with warmth and laughter, the air buzzing with stories of transformation and hope. Jonathan stood at the podium, looking out at the gathered crowd. His voice, once cold and authoritative, now carried the warmth of genuine compassion. "Thank you all for being here tonight. Your support and dedication have made Hope Haven what it is today, a place where lives are changed, and hope is rekindled. This journey has taught me that true success lies not in what we achieve alone, but in what we can accomplish together." The applause that followed was heartfelt, the gratitude evident in the eyes of those he had once viewed merely as beneficiaries. Jonathan felt a profound sense of connection. A realization that his life had been enriched not by wealth or power, but by the love and empathy he had found through his son and Grace's enduring legacy. As the evening progressed, Jonathan found himself deep in conversation with Cole, discussing the future of Hope Haven and the new horizons they were eager to explore. "We've built something truly special here, Cole," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "But there's still so much more we can do. Let's keep pushing forward, expanding our reach, and touching even more lives." Cole nodded, his eyes shining with determination. "Absolutely, Dad. Together, we can make an even greater impact. It's all about giving people the tools and support they need to rebuild their lives and find their own paths to happiness." Their discussion was interrupted by the arrival of Grace, her presence as calming and supportive as ever. Despite her declining health, her spirit remained unbroken. Her eyes filled with pride as she observed the thriving centers that bore the fruits of her and Cole's labor. "You've both done so well," Grace remarked softly, her voice carrying the wisdom of years filled with love and sacrifice. "Hope Haven is everything I hoped it would be and more." Jonathan approached her, his hand gently clasping hers. "Grace, your unwavering support and love have been the foundation of everything we've built. We couldn't have done this without you." Grace smiled, her eyes twinkling with gratitude. "I'm just glad I could help. Seeing all of you here, making a difference in so many lives. It's more than I ever dreamed of." As the night drew to a close, Jonathan and Cole stood together on the balcony, watching as the lights of Hope Haven continued to shine brightly against the darkening sky. The transformation of their lives and the lives of those they helped was a testament to the enduring power of forgiveness, love, and the human spirit. Jonathan felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that he had found redemption through the very son he had abandoned. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but it had also been filled with profound lessons about empathy, resilience, and the true meaning of family. As he looked at Cole, he saw not just a son, but a partner in a mission that was bigger than either of them, one that would continue to inspire and uplift countless others for years to come. In that moment, under the vast Chicago sky, father and son embraced their legacy of hope and compassion, their hearts united in a bond that had been forged through pain and healed by love. The mansion, once a symbol of isolation, now stood as a beacon of unity and generosity, embodying the profound impact of their shared journey and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The morning sun cast a warm glow over Chicago, its rays gently illuminating the bustling streets and the vibrant energy that filled Hope Haven's latest center. Jonathan Reynolds stood at the entrance, watching as volunteers prepared for the day's activities. The transformation of his once solitary mansion into a network of sanctuaries had not only changed his life but had begun to ripple outward, touching countless others in ways he had never imagined. Today was a special day for Hope Haven East. A new initiative was launching to provide educational scholarships for residents seeking to further their education and rebuild their lives. Jonathan felt a profound sense of accomplishment as he observed the preparations, knowing that this program could alter the course of many lives, just as Grace had altered his and Cole's. Cole approached him, his eyes reflecting the same determination and compassion that had driven their mission from the beginning. "Dad, the students are arriving soon. They're excited about the opportunities this scholarship will provide." Jonathan nodded, a smile touching his lips. "It's incredible to see how far we've come, Cole. Each new program is a testament to the power of empathy and the impact of our work." As the first group of residents began to gather, Jonathan felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The scholarship program was more than just financial aid, it was a beacon of hope, offering a tangible path to education and self-improvement. He remembered the nights spent planning and dreaming with Cole, each idea a step towards a brighter future for those who had been overlooked and forgotten. Grace Thompson, now a revered figure within Hope Haven, stood nearby, her presence a source of unwavering support and wisdom. Despite her frail health, Her spirit remained unbroken, embodying the very essence of compassion that had sparked this incredible journey. She watched as Jonathan and Cole interacted with the residents. Her eyes filled with pride and gratitude. "You've both done so much," Grace remarked softly, her voice carrying the weight of years filled with love and sacrifice. "This scholarship program is a game-changer for so many people." Jonathan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We couldn't have done this without you, Grace. Your unwavering support and love were the foundation of everything we've built here." Grace smiled, her eyes twinkling with gratitude. "I'm just glad I could help. Seeing all of you here, making a difference in so many lives. It's more than I ever dreamed of." As the day progressed, Jonathan found himself immersed in conversations with the scholarship recipients, listening to their stories and aspirations. Each interaction was a reminder of the profound impact Hope Haven had on individual lives, transforming despair into hope and potential into reality. The center was no longer just a shelter, it was a thriving community where dreams were nurtured and futures were rebuilt. One of the scholarship recipients, a young woman named Maya, approached Jonathan with a determined look in her eyes. "Mr. Reynolds, I just wanted to thank you. This scholarship means everything to me. I can finally pursue my dream of becoming a social worker and give back to my community." Jonathan felt a lump form in his throat, emotions welling up as he listened to her heartfelt words. "Maya, your dedication and passion are truly inspiring. I have no doubt you'll make a significant difference in the lives of others." As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the city, Jonathan and Cole stood together in the garden of Hope Haven East, reflecting on the day's achievements. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the gentle rustling of leaves, a serene backdrop to their moment of contemplation. "Dad," Cole began, his voice filled with quiet pride, "look at all we've accomplished. This scholarship program is just the beginning. There are so many more ways we can help people rebuild their lives." Jonathan nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the journey they had undertaken together. "You're right, Cole. Each new initiative is a step towards creating a more compassionate and supportive community. Grace would be proud of what we've achieved." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Elena Martinez, now a senior coordinator at Hope Haven. She approached them with a folder in hand, her eyes bright with excitement. "We've received inquiries from other cities interested in replicating our scholarship program. It's inspiring to see how much impact we're making." Jonathan and Cole exchanged a look of shared determination. "That's wonderful news, Elena. Thank you for bringing this to our attention," Jonathan replied, his voice steady with resolve. As the evening settled in, Jonathan found himself reflecting on the incredible transformation that Hope Haven had undergone. The once cold and imposing mansion had been reborn as a network of sanctuaries, each one a testament to the enduring power of love, empathy, and forgiveness. The lessons he had learned from Grace and the unwavering support of his son had reshaped his understanding of true success. Cole joined him in his contemplation, placing a hand on his father's shoulder. "We've built something truly special here, Dad. But there's still so much more we can do. Let's keep pushing forward, expanding our reach, and touching even more lives." Jonathan felt a surge of pride and determination. "Absolutely, Cole. Together, we can make an even greater impact. It's all about giving people the tools and support they need to rebuild their lives and find their own paths to happiness." Their bond had grown stronger with each passing day, their shared mission fostering a deep sense of unity and purpose. The mansion's grounds, once a symbol of isolation, were now alive with the vibrant energy of community and compassion. The transformations they had instigated were not just physical but deeply emotional, bridging the gap between wealth and poverty, power and humility. One chilly winter morning, as snowflakes gently fell from the sky, Jonathan and Cole attended a community meeting to discuss the expansion of Hope Haven's programs. The room was filled with passionate individuals eager to contribute their skills and resources, their faces reflecting the same hope and determination that had ignited this movement. During the meeting, a young man named Alex shared his story. He had struggled with addiction and homelessness for years before finding solace and support through Hope Haven's programs. "Without this center, I don't know where I'd be," Alex confessed, his voice trembling with emotion. "Hope Haven gave me a second chance, and now I'm working towards rebuilding my life." Jonathan felt a profound sense of responsibility and pride. "Alex, your resilience and determination are truly inspiring. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way." As the meeting progressed, the collective energy in the room was palpable, each person contributing to the shared vision of a compassionate and supportive community. Jonathan and Cole listened attentively, their hearts swelling with gratitude for the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others. Later that evening, as they walked through the snow-covered gardens, Jonathan turned to Cole with a heartfelt smile. "I never imagined that abandoning you would lead to something so beautiful. Hope Haven isn't just a center, it's a sanctuary where lives are changed, and hope is rekindled." Cole squeezed his father's hand, a gesture of unwavering support and love. "And it all started with Grace and the lessons she taught me about love and forgiveness. We owe so much to her." As the night sky blanketed the city in darkness, the lights of Hope Haven shimmered like a beacon of hope, guiding countless souls towards a brighter future. Jonathan felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that he had found redemption through the very son he had abandoned. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but it had also been filled with profound lessons about empathy, resilience, and the true meaning of family. Their story was far from over. With each new center and every life touched, Jonathan and Cole continued to build a legacy of compassion and hope, proving that no matter how lost one might feel, there is always a path to healing and transformation. The ripple effect of their love and empathy reached far beyond the walls of Hope Haven, inspiring others to embrace forgiveness and extend a helping hand to those in need. As they stood together, watching the snowflakes dance in the winter breeze, father and son knew that their journey of redemption and compassion was just beginning. The mansion, now a symbol of unity and generosity, stood as a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit and the transformative power of love. As the years passed, Hope Haven stood as a beacon of transformation and compassion in Chicago. Jonathan and Cole Reynolds had not only rebuilt their relationship but had also created a sanctuary where countless lives were touched by love and empathy. The once cold and imposing mansion now thrived with laughter, hope, and the shared stories of those they helped. Each new center they established carried forward the legacy of Grace Thompson, embodying the true essence of forgiveness and redemption. Jonathan often reflected on the incredible journey that brought him to this point. From the stormy night of abandonment to the profound bond he now shared with his son, every step had been a testament to the enduring power of love and the capacity for change. Cole's unwavering dedication and compassionate spirit had not only healed his father but had also inspired a community to embrace kindness and support one another. Their story was far from over, but the foundation they had built together promised a future filled with hope and endless possibilities. The mansion, now a vibrant hub of generosity, stood as a symbol of what could be achieved when hearts are open and souls are willing to forgive. Thank you for following Jonathan and Cole's inspiring journey. If you enjoyed this story of love, redemption, and profound life lessons, please subscribe to our channel Life Stories to stay updated with new and captivating narratives. Your support motivates us to continue bringing heartfelt and inspiring stories to your screen. Don't miss out, subscribe now and join us on this incredible journey.